This is Yair Davidiy speaking to you on behalf of Brit-Am. I'm speaking to you from the land of Israel. Today we are beginning a new series, Identification of Israelite Tribes, within a few minutes. Within a very few minutes we're going to go through the main points that enable us to identify entities, countries in Western Europe with Israelite tribes. To say that within those countries there is a substantial element of those who are of Hebrew descent from Israelites, and this has significance and importance for you, for those who live there, for those who neighbour the areas, for those who associate with the areas, for those who believe in the Bible, who believe in Israel, and it will show you what will happen in the end times, that the lost 10 tribes will emerge from these regions. So now we know the lost 10 tribes were exiled to portions of the Assyrian Empire. The 12 tribes of Israel, they divided into two different sections. The northern section was separate. 10 tribes in the north, they were conquered by the Assyrians. The Assyrians took them into exile to the areas of the Assyrian Empire. And the Bible tells us where these areas were. From those areas, they moved northwards. Some of them we already find in one of those areas in Media, a group known as the Sagatai, in the region of Media, where the Israelites were taken. It says the Israelites were taken to the cities of the Medes. We find there people known as Sagatai. We also find that the Sagatai were known as Issachar, which is one of the Israelite tribes. So this is one-on-one identification of Sagatai with Issachar. Later we find the Sagatai moving to the north, east of the Aral Sea, and then to the Volga River region. This is also a centre of the Khazars, who also descend from the 10 tribes of Israel. And from this area there was a migration to Finland. They entered Finland at a very late date, relatively speaking in historical terms, after about 500 CE, that is 500 in the Common Era. About the same time as Angles and Saxons were invading England, they entered Finland, even though if you look up in encyclopedias they will tell you that there were people in Finland from the Stone Age, from ages beforehand. So this may or may not be correct, but the majority of the ancestors of the present-day Finnish people came at that time, came at a late date, and they came from areas where the lost 10 tribes had previously been, from around the Volga region. And they entered Finland and they settled there. And these people are related to other peoples of Scandinavia, and they are similar to them in many ways. They have Israelite characteristics, as do the peoples of Scandinavia and those who are related to them. All the early historians of Finland traced them to the 10 tribes of Israel. Also, so did several of the early historians of Sweden, traced both their people, the Swedes, or a portion of them, to the lost tribes of Israel, and also the Finns to the lost 10 tribes of Israel. Finns refer to their country as Suomi, or something like that. Suomi, that is how it's written on the stamps. But they're known as Finland, land of Finns. The Finns were a tribe that dwelt in the area of Finland, and they gave their name to the country, at least in this how foreigners referred to them. The term Finn may be derived from Puni or Funi. In Hebrew, they're the same, they use the same letters, they have the same word, and Funi was one of the descendants of Fua. Funi was descended from Fua, a son of Issachar. Numbers 26, it says the sons of Issachar according to their clans were of Tola, the clan of the Tolaites, of Puba, the clan of the Punites, of Yeshub, the clan of the Yeshubites, of Shimron, the clan of the Shimronites. Name of the southern province of Mikaeli is reminiscence of Mikael, who was one of the heads of the clans of Issachar. Two other clans or minor sub-clans of Issachar, Yahmi and Yibasam, similar to the Finnish provinces of Kim and Uusimaa, which neighbour Mikaeli in the south of Finland in the major population regions. The Finnish word for father Issa is Issa. This might be related to the name Issachar. Issa short for Issachar. A number of people in Finland believe they are descended from Issachar. They say the word for father Issachar is short for Issachar. The Abarbanel, the famous rabbinical commentator Abarbanel, describes Issachar as preferring to remain neutral and not to go to war, but if necessary capable of doing so. And also we find in the Bible, it says the princes of Issachar were with Deborah in the war against the northern Canaanites, Judges 5:15. In the time of David, warriors from Issachar were valiant men of might, chief men and soldiers for war, so 1 Chronicles 725. So too the Finnish, even though they are neutrally inclined and not warlike people, but when they have to, they can be very formidable fighters, as the Russians have experienced on several occasions. There is Finnish academic researchers Pekati Liranan and Tuula Ikonen wrote a paper, Some Myths and Facts of the Origin of the Finns in Comparison with Israelites, 2011, and they bring evidence indicating the Finnish people descend from Israel. They say, and others say, we also met people from Finland who confirm this. They say the Finnish folk practices are similar to Hebrew Jewish ones. The Finns kept, like the Jews, they kept Sabbath. They kept Saturday as the Sabbath. Mami, Finnish unleavened bread, similar to matzot, was eaten at Easter. That is the Jewish Passover, which is the same as the Bible commands us to do. Also the names of fabrics, of household items in Finland reflect the Jewish or Hebrew associations, origins. Also they have a wedding tradition in Finland, even now and still today in certain areas of Finland, with a Bible couple stand under a canopy. In the Finnish it's called a hupu. This is similar to how Jews get married, when they stand under the huppah. The Finnish name for God was Jumala or Yuma, and this is similar to the name that the northern Israelites gave to God. When the northern Israelites separated from Judah, they set up their own religion and they worshipped golden calves, but they still spoke Hebrew and they still had aspects of Hebrew practices. And like the Jews today, they too, and as the Bible tells us, they did not want to take the name of God in vain, the holy name, so they changed it. Instead of saying using the Y sound, they used Yima. They termed God, the name of God, Yima, and this is similar to Yuma, which is the Finnish name for God. And Yumela, the word used for God in Hebrew, would connote Yuma is God. El means God. And Finland has characteristics of an Israelite nation. This includes empathy and care for its own citizens. It says Finland has an extensive welfare state. It's the best educational system in Europe, they say, but they have something to base themselves on. And Finland has been ranked as one of the world's most peaceful, competitive and livable countries. It's a small country, about 5.5 million inhabitants. They should have more babies. That's their problem. It's a problem of a lot of Israelite entities these days, but what can you do? Also it says in the Bible, in King James, 1 Chronicles 12, of the sons of Issachar, with understanding of the times to know what Israel ought to do, their chiefs were 200, and all their brethren were at their command. In other words, the Bible tells us that Issachar, that the practice that they have 200 chiefs over them. And now the Parliament of Finland has 200 members. Coincidence? Maybe coincidence, but who knows? How many coincidences can you have? The national animal of Finland is a brown bear, and the Finnish like it. It's not just a symbol, just an official name for it's not something that was just they had to have a national animal, so they chose a brown bear. No, they have something of a national affection for the brown bear. This is their national animal, and the name dove bear in Yiddish, in the Jewish speech Yiddish of Eastern Europe, dove bear was a popular name. Dove means bear in Hebrew, bear means bear in Yiddish German, and the name dove bear was associated with someone called Issachar. Also we have the combination Issachar bear, in other words Issachar and bear, which is also a popular name amongst Jews from Eastern Europe. So we have an association of Issachar in popular folk culture of the Jews with the bear. Issachar is associated with the bear. Finland is associated with Issachar. The national animal of Finland is the brown bear. We also have Torah codes. The Torah codes confirm the identification of Issachar with Finland. We find that the name Issachar, joining the name Suomi in Hebrew letters, is a Finnish name for Finland. And also the name FN, representing Finnish, also appears attached to it, attached to Suomi, and also attached to the name Issachar. So taking all of these indications together along with many others. We have proof that strong indications worth looking into, that the Finnish people are descended from the tribe of Issachar to a significant degree. Thank you. May the Lord God of Israel bless you.